Let's get some reaction now to the president's comments and this meeting between Secretary Kerry and his Russian counterpart with a member of the Syrian opposition coalition, Louai Safi. He joins me on set here in New York. What did you make of the president's comments today at the UN? Did he go far enough? I know you've been disappointed by the president in the past. You called it a failure in leadership when he basically balked and didn't strike. What did you think of today's speech?
Overall was positive. He emphasized the enforcement of this removal of chemical weapons under a Security Council resolution. We look forward to see that under Chapter 7, hopefully. I would love to see him talk more about stopping the regime from using heavy weaponry like Air Force and ballistic missiles to deal with the opposition. That has not been addressed. But overall, it was a positive speech. We did like the focus on political solution, forcing the regime to go to the negotiating table and to transfer power to a democratic government.
Do you think there's any chance that is going to happen, that Assad is just going to willingly give power up? It seems to me like the international community has just backed off and said, just give up these chemical weapons and we'll leave you alone.
He will not do that voluntarily. He has to be under pressure. There must be a threat. Remember that when he was threatened with military action, he surrendered what he called his strategic weapon overnight.
Right.
And I think with another forceful action on the part of the United States, he would have to negotiate surrendering the power to democratic government.
And how much are you filled in on the dialogue between the Russians and Secretary of State John Kerry? We understand that things are not going very smoothly. It seems like they're having a very tough time coming up with something that both sides can agree on.
That's true, because the Russians have made their decision to stand by Bashar. They know the dictatorship stand by the dictator. Remove him and the whole thing collapses. And so they are going to be maneuvering a lot, and the regime is very elusive. They are very good at trying to evade and to prolong. They want to gain time so that they can punish the opposition further. Hopefully, they are hopeful that they can see surrendering. That will not happen, but that will prolong the agony of the Syrian people.
And lastly, sir, I want to give you an opportunity quickly, if you would, to address some of the concerns that have been raised about you in the Dallas Morning News. One of the concerns the American people have about the Syrian opposition is, who are these people? Some of them obviously have ties to terrorist groups, the Al-Nusra Front, etc. There have been questions about some of your friendships, your relationships. How can you assure the American people that you are on the up and up?
Yeah, well, actually, I personally have been targeted by the far right. I guess part of seeing every Muslim as a dangerous person in this country. They have even targeted President Obama because he had a dialogue with us. He kept us, in the loop. So I think that's their strategy. But if you go after anything they claim, it has no ground, no foundation.
All right, Louai Safi, thank you so much for coming in.